Hey! After the intro comes the proper story. Since the intro video was number 0, welcome to video number 1 of Goose's Model Cars. This is the first of a hopefully long series of model car reviews. So, who has the honor of being first? Well, it's one of the most famous nameplates of the automotive world. It has always been the benchmark for all sports cars, and sometimes even supercars, since 1963. I know you already got what car I'm talking about, and definitely not because you've seen it from the title. Right? This is a Porsche 911. More precisely, this is the 997 generation of 911. It ran from 2004 until 2012. This particular model is manufactured by Maisto, and the scale is 1/18. I've had it since 2006, which makes it my first ever 1/18 scale model car. By the way, if you're wondering what was my first ever model car, it was this 2006 BMW 3 Series Touring, manufactured by Mini Champs in scale 1/43. As it turns out, it's not the greatest idea in the world to give 2-year-olds a Mini Champs model car. Anyway, thank goodness this 911 wasn't so unlucky. So let's dive into it. It's a 911 Carrera 2. As we can also see if we roll over the car and we look at the underbody. Porsche 911 Carrera / Carrera S, scale 1/18, manufactured by Maisto, made in Thailand. I want to underline the fact that the underside of this car writes Carrera / Carrera S. We need to keep in mind this for later in this video. I just want to tell you that there were some Carreras and some Carrera S's made by Maisto in the same period. So they didn't want to create two different underbodies for essentially the same model. The color is an historic Porsche color. It's called Speed Yellow. It is non-metallic, and on this generation of 911 it was a standard color. The interior is full black. Black seats, black carpet, black sky, black upholstery. Did I mention it's black? This model also shows the presence of a very interesting optional. Code 425, rear wiper. I say it's an interesting optional, not only because this model has it, but also because it has always been, and still is to this day, unfortunately, an optional on Porsche's optional list. I mean, it's a safety feature. Just make it standard, Porsche. What are you thinking? Here's another optional. Code 249. Tiptronic S transmission. It's an automatic. Which, it's not that interesting, right? It wouldn't be that interesting if the gear selector had a regular gate, of course. This might be an Easter egg, but the gear selector gate is upside down. This is how the gate should look like. It's a reversed L or a kind of J. The exhaust is the standard Carrera exhaust. You can spot it by the oval shape of the exhaust tips. The brakes are the standard brakes for the Carrera, and you can understand it by the black caliper, which in this case even has the Porsche logo on it. Unfortunately though, they don't roll with the wheel, they're just stuck in place. By the way, since we're talking about wheels, look at how beautiful they are. They are 19 inches Carrera Classic. They were optional at the time. What is not optional about these wheels is the center logo. As you can see, it's a black logo on a silver background. You could have it colored, but you had to pay for it, which is something stupid in my opinion. The seats are the standard seats. They're not very heavy upholstered, but at least they are electrically adjustable. And they even have memory functions, as you can see by these commands on the door panel. The infotainment is the Porsche Communication Management, PCM, and the audio system is the Bose surround sound system. How can I understand it? Well, do you see that silver rectangle? I happen to believe that there will be a Bose logo inside of it. The fact that they took the effort to reproduce at least the silver plaque, well, that's a lot. Believe me, that's a lot. Last but not least, under the indicator stalk, there's another stalk, which is called Tempostat. What is Tempostat, you may ask? Well, first of all, it wasn't optional. According to the official brochure of this car, Tempostat is automatic cruise control, currently ranging from 30 to 240 km an hour. It is available as an optional. It is activated by a switch located on a separate steering column stalk and can already be used in first gear. So after having explained the specs of this car as if it was a real car, let's talk about the model itself. As I said, it's made by Maisto, which is one of the most famous budget-friendly, good quality model car producers. The model first came out in 2004, so alongside the real 911, 997 generation, and at the launch it was available in several colors. This, speed yellow, Indian red, cobalt blue, silver metallic, and basalt black metallic. And now I'll tell you something interesting. Do you remember when I showed you the undercarriage of this car, where there was written Carrera/Carrera 2S? Well, that is because Maisto produced this car in these two versions, the Carrera and the Carrera S. And the speed yellow model, this one, was the only one that spotted the name Carrera. All the others, the red, the blue, the silver and the black, were all Carrera 2S's. This is the only Carrera 2, all the others were Carrera S's. They all came with black interior. However, the basalt black model was available both with black interior, but also red interior. The overall quality of this model is very good. It feels solid, sturdy, it is heavy in a very satisfying way, coming at 713 grams. It has 4 openings. All the glasses have black window frames. There are some pegs in the lights. Fortunately, there aren't pegs in the headlights. However, there are in the indicators and in the taillights. Speaking of lights, one of the very few low points of this model is represented by the side indicators located on the front bumper. They aren't separate pieces of plastic, they are just painted white stripes. Da, 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 da. They could at least have done it in silver. and they could have at least aligned them, because they are just slightly misaligned. They should be like this. The door handles chapter is again a little meh. Again, they aren't separate pieces. They are just molded into the cast iron. The result is they're not very deep and not very realistic. The engine is a single plastic piece. It tries very hard to be detailed. In some cases it manages, in some others it doesn't. Maybe because of the fact that if you look at the car from behind, you can't even see the engine. For some reason it's very deep inside the rear compartment and very far behind the rear bumper. I have no idea why. What is very realistic instead are the tires. They are Michelin Pilot Sport. They have a very nice tread. The brakes are realistic, however they don't spin with the wheel. The wheels themselves are very, very well made. There are a lot of details, like for example the tire inflation point, or the wheel nuts, which almost look like they are separate pieces. However, I have a little problem with this model in particular. Do you see all this dust on the rear wheels? That's because for some reason the rear wheels have turned to be very, very sticky. Only the rear wheels. I don't know why. It's very annoying because they are dirty, and being so sticky they collect a lot of dust and crap. But I don't know. I really don't know why they turned out to be so sticky. Also, speaking of the tires, you can notice that on this side, both the front and the rear, the tire threads are the correct way around, meaning that the center section, which has a V shape, points forwards, which is the correct way around. But on the other side, they point backwards. This means that Maisto has decided to cheap out on the tire side and did not want to create two different kinds of tires, right-hand tires and left-hand tires. Economy of scale, I guess. I could eventually invert the position of the tires, but there's another problem. The writings Michelin and Pilot Sport, as well as the wheel measurements, have been reported just on this side. They aren't on the inner side, so it will look less realistic if I turn the wheel the other way around. The interior is a bit hard to see because it's all black. However, it is the highest point of this model in my opinion, especially the dashboard. As you may have previously seen, there are stitching on the upper side of the dashboard. The gauge cluster is very realistic. There are stickers in the inner part of the circles, are the RPMs, always in the center in a Porsche, the speed, the clock, various vehicles information, and so on and so forth. You can even read the RPM numbers. The console, same story. Again, very, very realistic. It has even some white letterings all over it. And sometimes they are so well printed that you can even read them. For example, on the gear shifting zone, P, R, N, D, M for manual mode, or the switch for the lights. But my favorite part certainly is the PCM, which is extremely realistic, especially for a model of this price range and quality. And I like to think that what it says on the screen of the PCM is like the identity card of this model, which was born the 12th of May 2004, so just 2 days before me, at 12:37 a.m. with 45 degrees Fahrenheit and SWR3 radio in the background. Fascinating, right? Steering wheel, good, but I feel like it's just slightly smaller than what it should be. I don't know why it makes me this impression. I could be mistaken, but it feels a bit out of proportion to me. The plastics are all very good, matte and rubbery. The seats are very good quality. Soft plastic with a matte finish and a rubbery feeling. And there are even wrinkles on the seat itself, as there would be on a real leather seat. Very nice, Maisto. The rear seats, kind of invisible and kind of unusable, just like the real car. But at least they made the effort to report some leather wrinkles even on them. By the way, have you ever been in the back seats of a 911? I hope for you not. I've been in the back seats of a 992 generation, which is the current 911 generation. Theoretically is bigger than the 997. However, the 992 where I've been into had a glass electrically openable roof, which takes away a bit of space in about this section. And I'm not very tall, I'm about 167 centimeters, but I really struggle to fit inside the back seats of a 911. As I said before, the gear lever track is upside down, but the little printings of PRND scheme are a bonus point. As I said at the beginning of this video, this has been my first ever 1/10th scale model. My dad gave it to me when I was 2 years old, so if you see some scratches, paint defects, little damages here and there, sorry, I was 2 years old. In conclusion, I think this model car is a very solid piece of metal, and it has a really good value for money. I think it's about 30 to 50 euros in very pristine condition. But it's again a real good quality model. It's solid, it's sturdy, it's realistic overall. It may not reach the levels of realism of some mini champs or auto art model cars, but if you're on a tight-ish budget, it's a good alternative. And since I'm constantly on a tight-ish budget, that's a good alternative for me, at least. Yay! Mal di schina. Would I trade this 911 model for another 911 model? Maybe a better quality one? No, it's too significant for me. So that's it for this video. If you're a Porsche lover, if you're a 911 enthusiast, or even if you just enjoy this review and you want to support the channel, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, possibly nice, and I'll catch you all in the next review. Say